What's up YouTube, this is Eagle-Eye00 signing in once again, and today I have for you a 100% sniper V2 rocket on Gustav Cannon. This is only my third game playing with this sniper, but it is so nice, the shot is so clean, and the suppressor really helps out when you're trying to stay off the enemy radar. Staying off the enemy's radar and or minimap is extremely important when you're trying to drop a sniper V2 rocket. Even if you're trying to drop a regular V2 rocket with a regular gun, it is just as important. I suggest always running Armored Division or Mountain Division, and also always putting a suppressor on your gun. The reason I brought up Armored Division when I'm talking about evading the enemy's radar is that you can always pair it with a special basic training that mimics the same thing as the Mountain Division. What I mean by this is that the Mountain Division allows you to have silencer movement, invisible to score streaks, and you won't show up on enemy radar. So there is a basic training perk that also allows you not to be able to show up on enemies' radar. Now it doesn't give you the silent movement or invisible to score streaks, but you compare this to any division, and I use the example of using it with the Armored Division. Another reason that I brought up Armored Division and Mountain Division in this video is that they are by far the best divisions you can pick in the game, especially if you're trying to drop nuclear. I don't care if you're a sniper or using a regular gun, those two divisions are by far the best, and I highly suggest using them if you're trying to drop V2 rockets. Before we get any farther in this tutorial, I just want to make it really clear that this tutorial is not solely meant for snipers. If you use a regular gun and want to learn how to drop a V2 rocket, or have already dropped a V2 rocket and want to learn how to drop more V2 rockets, I highly suggest that you stick around and hear the tips, tricks, and strategies that I use to drop V2 rockets. That being said, let's get on with the tutorial. So now you know staying off the enemy radar is extremely important when you're trying to drop V2 rockets, but it might not be as important as you think. On big maps such as USS Texas and Gustav Cannon, it is extremely important to stay off the enemy radar at all times, because multiple people are going to drop UAVs and they're going to know exactly where you are and they're going to come and kill you. The key to dropping V2 rockets on big maps is to stay alive at all costs, and staying off the enemy's radar is going to help you achieve this goal. Now for the reason why staying off the enemy radar won't always keep you alive. As I mentioned before, playing on Gustav Cannon or USS Texas, having a radar blocking basic training perk or division is almost a must to drop a V2 rocket. But what if you're playing on a smaller map like Shipment or Point Duhawk? Now, for this particular instance, I highly suggest that you do not use any perk that blocks radar. The main reason for this is because on smaller maps, regardless of if you're running any basic training or division that blocks enemy radar, the maps are so small and condensed that enemies gonna find you, run into you by mistake, or accidentally kill you with a score streak regardless. So there's basically no point to running any stealth perks or division or basic training when you're on smaller maps. As a side note, if any of you guys are wondering, now is where the V2 rocket score streaks start. So I did use a pistol and a gun before that, but from now on is 100% sniper gameplay when I drop the V2 rocket. It is extremely stressful toward the end of this that the V2 rocket was almost not gotten today. But it was, and I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay in the background as I continue this tutorial. So back to my point about how on smaller maps it is basically useless to run anything stealthy. Now, if you are comfortable with using stealth perks regardless of what map you're on, I say go for it, because no matter in any circumstance or any position on any map, certain perks are always going to be better than others. That's why if you really want to, you can use the Specialist perk, which allows you, after I'm pretty sure 8 kills, you unlock all basic trainings. So I highly suggest that you would actually run that basic training perk on any map regardless of the size. That's the overall safest way. Now for score streaks, since that basic training perk replaces your score streaks with your perks, I personally like having UAV and counter UAV on at all times, so I always know where the enemy is, which gives me kills and also keeps me alive throughout my streak. Because I like score streaks better than having extra perks, such as me using the UAV and counter UAV, that's the main reason why I do not use the Specialist perk. Now, depending on what you're more comfortable with, you're just going to have to use both perks, or maybe you already know which one you like better, but I suggest experimenting just a little bit to see what you're the most comfortable with. Being comfortable with your class, perks, division, and class setup is one of the most important things when you're trying to drop a V2 rocket, and I'll tell you why. The reason for this is because the higher score streak that you get, or the more kills you get in a row, the more nervous that you're going to get. And if you're playing with a class setup that you're really comfortable with, this will actually calm your nerves to a certain degree. I'm sure we can all relate to the exciting feeling you get when you're on a super high kill streak or doing really well in a game, or you're trying to get the most kills that you've ever gotten in a game before this and you're so close to breaking your record. Regardless of the reason, I highly suggest using a gun or a class setup or a division or a perk that you're extremely comfortable with using. The reason for this is that it's going to calm your nerves. When you're on such a high kill streak or trying to get a kill streak that you haven't got before this, or trying to break your record of the most kills in a single game, you can remind yourself that you're using something that you've used 1,000 times before this. It's nothing new, it's nothing unique, you're familiar with it, and you're gonna do great and drop the score streak. Another way to how to get your nerves under control is literally just take a minute. I know that's not really a strategy or anything that you can help, but if you're in the enemy spawn and you're freaking out and you're on a super high kill streak, literally just take a section of the map and just run back and forth between two spawn points. Do not make poor decisions when you're on that high of a score streak. I have messed up so many nuclears about rushing to the spawn thinking that I only need 5 more kills so I can just get a quick bloodthirsty and then drop my nuclear. I have died one alpha nuclear so many times because of poor decision making when I'm in the enemy spawn. When you start getting really excited or nervous when you're on that high of a score streak, try to play as you would normally. Do not change your playstyle. I have changed my playstyle so many times when I'm on a high kill streak, and it always gets me killed because I'm not familiar with playing a certain way. I always play the same way every single time, and I'm going to continue to play the same way even if I'm on my nuclear kill streak, because I think to myself, you either get it or you don't. It's no big deal if you die, you'll just try to get another one. If you do manage to die very close to your V2 rocket, do not get discouraged or mad at the game or yourself. There's always next game. Literally, as many games as you play, that's how many tries you get to drop a V2 rocket. It's not like you could only drop it once, or you only had that one chance, or you only had that one try, or this lobby was the best. It will come again. If you got that close one time, you can get that close again and end up getting the V2 rocket, so just don't sweat it. We're a little bit more than halfway done the video at this point, so I'm going to quickly recap the 3 points that we've already gone over, just in case someone skipped to the halfway point in the video, which I have no problem with, or just in case someone's taking notes or didn't hear one of the points and was too interested in the gameplay. So point number 1 is the bigger the map, the more stealthy you want to be. Such as on the maps of Gustav Cannon, which is the one we're currently playing, and USS Texas, you want to be as stealthy as possible. So use mountain divisions or any basic training perk that makes you really silent when you kill people, the skulls don't pop up, or invisible to enemy radar and or score streaks. The exact opposite of this rule also applies with smaller maps. With smaller maps, you want to be less stealthy. And the reason you want to be less stealthy is that you want to run and gun. You want to be as fast as possible, you want to reload as fast as possible, aim in as fast as possible, get as many bullets as you need as fast as possible. Don't focus on stealth on a small map, you'll just be wasting perk slots or wasting a division slot. So you don't necessarily want to be loud, but you do want to run and gun on small maps. But on big maps, again, stay as stealthy as possible, and that was point number 1. Point number 2 is the trade-off that you're going to have to choose between, and it's going to come down to personal preference of score streaks versus specialist basic training perk. Now again, I told you that I prefer the UAV and the counter UAV over having every single basic training perk. Now for you, again, it's going to come down to personal preference. It just depends. Whatever one that you're more comfortable with, use. Again, if you're going to use the specialist basic training perk, I suggest that you line your perks up with the size of the map. And if you're using score streaks, I always suggest using UAV and counter UAV so you always know where the enemies are at all times. And that was point number 2. Point number 3 is how to calm your nerves when you're on a super high score streak or gun streak. Again, right now I just got my 20 kill streak. I only need 4 more kills to complete the V2 rocket, so I'm kind of freaking out right now. I'm kind of holding down this bunker in the middle of the map. I know I'm using a class that I'm extremely comfortable with. Now, the thing is that this sniper was only my 3rd game using it, so I really wasn't that comfortable with using this sniper, so that made me kind of nervous. I didn't have a really good idea of how to properly use this gun because, again, this was only my 3rd game with this gun. Now, the class itself I knew how to use pretty well, such as all the score streak setups, the basic training perk, and the division slot, because the only thing I changed on this class is I changed the lever action, which I've used over 10,000 times, for this suppressed sniper rifle. So again, I was kind of comfortable with the class, but I really wasn't comfortable with the sniper rifle, which basically just added to my nervousness of trying to drop this nuke. In the third point, we also mentioned how when you're on a really high kill streak, you wouldn't play how you would normally play, and I say that's extremely dangerous because watch this. I go over here, I'm kind of freaking out, I'm getting antsy, I'm just like, screw it, I'm just going to rush their spawn. There's only one guy up here, I'm going to pick him off and get my last kill, I'm good. I pop over the corner, wasn't expecting to see both those guys, but I ended up getting the V2 rocket anyway. Again, not playing how I normally play almost cost me another nuke, and I would have been one off yet again. But I ended up getting the V2 rocket, which was pretty cool, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and take all the tips into consideration that I mentioned. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below that you would like to see another V2 rocket or at least another nuclear, so I can give more than just 3 tips. I know this was kind of a longer video than I normally do, but again, I could only cover 3 tips in this. There will be probably more in the future if you guys comment down below and if you want one. But other than that, the next video will be another sniper montage. The thing with that is that I ended up having to delete more than half of the montage, so I need a little bit more time, probably a week, to hit the clips back, and then I will make another montage for you guys. That being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below. And yeah, I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Go play Call of Duty and drop a V2 rocket, and good luck.